The year is 1184 BCE. The sun bleeds crimson across the Aegean horizon as dawn breaks over the towering walls of Troy. King Priam stands atop the highest tower of his citadel, his weathered hands gripping the stone battlements. Below him stretches the Trojan plain, scarred by 10 years of relentless warfare. The Greek ships line the distant shore like black teeth against the morning light. The air carries the acrid smell of smoke from countless funeral pyres and the metallic tang of blood that has soaked into the earth itself. What do you think drove the Greeks to maintain this siege for an entire decade? Share your thoughts in the comments below about what you believe was the real reason behind this legendary war. Priam's eldest surviving son, Hector, approaches with heavy footsteps echoing against the stone. His bronze armor bears fresh dents from yesterday's battle, and dried blood cakes the leather straps of his sword belt. "Father, the scouts report strange activity in the Greek camp." Hector's voice carries the weight of exhaustion that has settled over every Trojan warrior. "They've been burning their supplies since midnight. Some say they're preparing to sail home." The old king's eyes narrow as he studies the distant camp. Smoke columns rise like prayers to the gods, but something feels wrong. Too wrong. After 10 years, they simply leave. Priam's voice cracks with disbelief. "No. This reeks of Odysseus and his cunning mind. The Greeks don't abandon what they've bled for." Below in the city streets, Trojan citizens emerge from their homes like cautious animals after a storm. Children who have known nothing but war peer around their mothers' robes at the unfamiliar sight of empty battlefields. The morning air should carry the usual sounds of clashing bronze and dying men, but instead, an unnatural quiet blankets the plain. Market vendors dare to set up their stalls for the first time in months. The smell of fresh bread mingles with the ever-present odor of smoke and death. Cassandra, the cursed prophetess, runs through the streets with wild hair streaming behind her. Her voice pierces the morning calm like a blade. "Death approaches on wooden legs. The horse carries our doom, but the people turn away, as they always do. Her divine curse ensures that her prophecies, though true, will never be believed." She falls to her knees in the dirt, clawing at the earth as visions of fire and slaughter flood her mind. "The horse! Beware the horse!" Near the Scaean gate, Captain Antenor examines the massive wooden structure that the Greeks have left behind. It towers 30 feet high, carved from oak and pine, its craftsmanship extraordinary. The horse's eyes seem to watch him with an intelligence that makes his skin crawl. "It's magnificent," he murmurs to his lieutenant, "but why would they leave such a thing? An offering to Athena, they claim in the inscription. But Greek offerings have never brought Troy anything but sorrow." The lieutenant runs his hand along the smooth wooden flank. "The wheels are well made. We could roll it into the city easily enough. Perhaps it truly is a peace offering." But even as he speaks, something deep in his warrior's instincts screams warnings. The wood smells too fresh, too recently cut, and beneath the scent of pine resin, there's something else, something that reminds him of the inside of an armory. Inside the horse's belly, 30 Greek warriors crouch in absolute darkness. Odysseus presses his finger to his lips, though the gesture is invisible in the black confines of their wooden prison. The air is stifling, thick with the sweat and fear of desperate men. Achilles' son Neoptolemus grips his sword hilt until his knuckles ache, fighting the urge to burst from their hiding place and face the enemy in open battle. This deception goes against every heroic code he was raised to honor. "Patience," Odysseus whispers, his breath hot against Neoptolemus's ear. "Glory awaits those who can master their impulses." The older warrior's body radiates a calm that contrasts sharply with the tension coiled in every other man's muscles. He has planned this moment for months, accounting for every detail, every possible failure. Yet even he cannot fully suppress the racing of his heart. What do you think is going through the minds of these hidden warriors? The tension must be unbearable. Let me know in the comments what you would do in their situation. King Priam orders the gates opened as crowds gather around the wooden horse. Trojan engineers study the massive construction, marveling at its craftsmanship. "Roll it through the gates," Priam commands. "If the Greeks truly offer this to Athena, then let the goddess have it within our walls. Perhaps she will finally smile upon Troy." The decision seals his city's fate, though he cannot know it yet. The wheels creak and groan as hundreds of Trojans push and pull the horse through the narrow gateway. The sound echoes off the stone walls like thunder, masking the subtle shifting of armed men within. Children run alongside, their laughter the first joyful sound heard in the city for years. Women lean from windows, throwing flower petals that carpet the street in celebratory colors. The irony cuts deep. Troy welcomes its destruction with flowers and songs. As darkness falls, torches illuminate the greatest feast Troy has known in a decade. Wine flows like rivers through the streets. Musicians play lyres and pipes while dancers whirl between the tables. The smell of roasted meat and honeyed wine fills the air, a sharp contrast to the usual rations of war. Even the guards abandon their posts, drawn by the magnetic pull of celebration after so much suffering. Laocoon, the priest of Apollo, stands apart from the revelry. His weathered face reflects the flickering torchlight as he stares at the horse with undisguised suspicion. "I fear the Greeks, especially when they bear gifts," he mutters to anyone who will listen. But his words are lost in the laughter and music that fills the night air. The priest approaches the wooden structure with a spear in his trembling hand. He draws back his arm and hurls the bronze point into the horse's flank. The weapon strikes with a hollow thud that seems too deep, too resonant for solid wood. For a moment, absolute silence falls over the nearby celebrants. Then, from within the horse, comes the unmistakable sound of metal scraping against wood. Before Laocoon can voice his suspicions, serpents rise from the sea, their scales glistening in the torchlight like liquid bronze. Athena, protector of the Greeks, has sent her agents of divine wrath. The massive creatures coil around Laocoon and his two sons, their crushing embrace silencing his warnings forever. The crowd watches in horror as the priest's prophecy dies with him in the coils of divine vengeance. Inside the horse, Odysseus feels the spear point penetrate the wooden wall mere inches from his head. Cold sweat beads on his forehead as he realizes how close they came to discovery. The sound of celebration outside grows louder, masking any noise they might make. But when the serpents attack Laocoon, even Odysseus recognizes the hand of the gods at work. Athena herself protects their mission. Hours pass like centuries. The sounds of revelry gradually fade as exhausted Trojans stumble home to sleep. Guards slump against their spears, overwhelmed by wine and relief after a decade of vigilance. The city settles into the deepest peace it has known since Paris first brought Helen within these walls. Near midnight, a small panel slides open in the horse's belly. Odysseus drops a rope to the ground and descends like a shadow made flesh. His feet make no sound on the stone pavement as he signals to his hidden fleet waiting beyond the horizon. A single torch flame answers from the distant hills, the signal that will bring the Greek army racing back to Troy's gates. One by one, the 30 warriors emerge from their wooden prison. Their limbs are stiff from hours of cramped confinement, but their weapons gleam with deadly purpose. They move through the sleeping city like ghosts, their sandaled feet finding every shadow, every silent path. The years of siege warfare have taught them patience, and now that patience will be rewarded with the ultimate prize. Neoptolemus leads a group toward the royal palace, his young heart pounding with anticipation of the glory to come. The corridors echo with his father's legendary rage as he kicks open doors and storms through chambers where Trojan nobility sleep in wine-soaked oblivion. But when he reaches Priam's bedchamber and sees the aged king cowering before Athena's altar, something in the young warrior's soul recoils. "Please," Priam whispers, his voice cracking with age and terror. "I am no threat to you, boy. I have buried too many sons to lift a sword against you." The old king's hands shake as he clutches the goddess statue, seeking divine protection that will not come. For a heartbeat, Neoptolemus hesitates. This is not the glorious combat he imagined. This is not how heroes earn their fame. But the memory of his father Achilles, dead these many months, hardens his resolve. "You should have thought of that before Paris killed my father," he snarls, and drives his blade forward. Throughout the city, similar scenes play out in blood and shadow. Greek warriors pour through the gates as their hidden comrades open the defenses from within. The Trojan guards, caught completely off guard, die at their posts before they can raise an alarm. The streets that rang with celebration just hours ago now echo with screams and the clash of desperate battle. Fire blooms like deadly flowers throughout Troy as the Greeks put the city to the torch. The smell of burning wood and flesh fills the air, creating a choking haze that turns the night red as blood. The famous walls that withstood 10 years of siege warfare cannot protect against the enemy already within. Troy dies from the inside out, consumed by the flames of its own misplaced trust. Hector's wife Andromache clutches their infant son Astyanax as Greek soldiers pound on their door. She knows what fate awaits her: slavery in a foreign land, serving the very people who destroyed everything she loved. But her child, perhaps there is still hope for her child. She presses her lips to his soft hair, breathing in his innocent scent one last time before the door splinters and armed men pour into her chamber. In the temple of Athena, Cassandra clings to the goddess's statue as Ajax the Lesser advances on her with lust burning in his eyes. Her prophetic gift shows her exactly what will happen, and she screams not just for herself, but for all the horrors yet to come. Even in the goddess's own sanctuary, there will be no mercy this night. The gods themselves seem to have abandoned Troy to its fate. As dawn breaks over the burning city, King Menelaus finally stands face to face with Helen, the woman whose beauty launched 1,000 ships. She kneels before him in her chamber, more beautiful than ever despite the smoke and terror that surrounds them. For 10 years he has imagined this moment, the righteous fury he would feel, the satisfaction of reclaiming what was stolen from him. But looking down at her now, all he feels is emptiness. Was she worth the rivers of blood that have been spilled? Was her beauty worth the destruction of an entire civilization? The questions have no answers that will bring back the dead or rebuild the burning city outside. The great city of Troy, which has stood for over 1,000 years, dies in a single night. Its towers crumble, its treasures are carried away by Greek ships, and its people are scattered to the winds as slaves. The Trojan plain, once fertile and green, is salted and burned until nothing will grow there for generations to come. Odysseus stands on the deck of his ship as it pulls away from the burning coast. Victory tastes like ash in his mouth. Yes, they have won, but at what cost? The war that was supposed to last months stretched into a decade. Entire generations of Greek youth lie buried beneath Trojan soil. And now, as he watches the smoke rise from Troy's ruins, he wonders if the gods will demand further payment for this night's work. The fall of Troy marks the end of an age. The Bronze Age civilizations that flourished around the Mediterranean are crumbling, giving way to centuries of darkness before new powers rise to take their place. The heroic age of gods and demigods is ending, and the world that emerges from Troy's ashes will be harder, more pragmatic, less touched by divine magic. But the story itself will live forever. 3,000 years later, poets still sing of Hector's courage, Achilles' wrath, and the wooden horse that brought down the greatest city in the ancient world. The power of narrative to preserve memory proves stronger than bronze walls or stone towers. In its destruction, Troy achieved a kind of immortality that its builders never imagined. The archaeological evidence suggests that a great city did indeed fall around this time period, consumed by fire and never rebuilt. Whether it was the Troy of Homer's imagination, we may never know for certain, but the story continues to resonate because it speaks to universal human experiences: love and betrayal, honor and revenge, the price of war and the cost of victory. What lessons do you think we can learn from Troy's fall? Does the story still have relevance in our modern world? Share your thoughts in the comments below about how this ancient tale connects to contemporary events and human nature. The wooden horse remains history's most famous example of deception and warfare, inspiring military strategists and storytellers for millennia. From ancient times to the digital age, the concept of the Trojan horse endures as a metaphor for hidden dangers and unexpected attacks. The lesson remains as relevant today as it was 300-200 years ago. Sometimes the greatest threats come disguised as gifts. If you enjoyed this journey back to the Bronze Age and the legendary fall of Troy, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Endless Ages for more epic stories from history's most fascinating moments. From ancient battlefields to lost civilizations, we'll continue exploring the dramatic events that shaped our world. The past is full of incredible stories waiting to be told, and the best ones are yet to come.